you win the month, you win the year. And as you do this, as time goes on, you look back and you're able to connect these amazing dots that create a tremendous empire that you thought was impossible one day.
Welcome back to the Ignition Path podcast. My name is Kyle Goodknight, your host. Before I go any further, make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you're listening to this message and anybody that you may know may need this information, don't forget to share that with them and just push that link right to them. So today we have on our show Rick Salmeron, who's a financial, runs Salmeron Financial, and he's going to be able to tell you some really cool things that him and I had a pre-call with a couple weeks ago, and definitely a good fit for our audience to make sure that you have more information to help you with your finances and your business. So, Rick, go ahead and tell us who you are, what your background is, and where you came from, because it is an ignition path. So the path that you got to becoming your own business owner is really what we're focused on, but we'll also get to the end and tell people how to find you. So go ahead and tell us all about yourself, Rick.
Thank you for having me, Kyle. I'm an independent financial advisor here in Dallas, Texas. I've been in the business for a very, very long time. And I don't say that to brag. However, I have a strong belief in what I do, and I can tell you more about the why of what I do. However, a lot of people ask me on the outset, how did I start in this business? And frankly, I started when I was 8 years old. I was sitting down at my breakfast table on a Saturday morning, enjoying my breakfast. My mother approaches me and she says, "Rick, this is going to be a very special day for you today." And I said, "Why, Mom?" "Because, honey, we are going to take you to a place called the Savings and Loan." I said, "Okay, what does that mean?" "That means if you allow them to keep your money, they will pay you money for keeping your money." I still didn't really understand what that meant. However, what was good for my mom was good for me. So I dropped my spoon in my Fruit Loops. We went to the car. We drove down to this place called the Savings and Loan. I emptied my pockets on the counter, probably 10 weeks worth of allowance, the coins just spinning around and coming to a rest. My mother matched that with another $10, and my first savings account was born with $20. Now, it wasn't until 90 days later that I received my first statement in the mail, Kyle, and that $20 grew to $20.15.
That's right. You're making money.
I couldn't believe my eyes. It was really true. All I had to do is let the money sit there and it would increase. Yeah. That was amazing. And from that point, I found myself coming up with actions and behaviors that slowly built a pretty decent empire for my age. And fast forward, my first corporate America job, I maxed out on my company 401k without giving it a second thought. I bought my first house at age 22, my first stock at age 18. And these were all like automatic pilot things, right? And when I got sick of corporate America, what could I do that I wanted to get out, something more entrepreneurial, be my own boss, right? Be the entrepreneur that we all love to be. And looking back, I saw all of these behaviors, these actions that I took. It was natural as part of my DNA. And I thought, wow, I can start a business and create something great. These were not secrets to me, yet many people are trying to figure this out. And I felt like I had figured it out. And frankly, I'm still figuring it out to this day. However, I built my business based on that. And I love, and I'm very passionate about what I'm doing. I feel like a person's wealth and a person's money aspect of their life is so vital and it supports so many areas of one's life that I feel like everyone deserves to have a strong fortress of wealth going for them, headed in the right direction of their future, not somebody else's. And that's really what drives me.
Yeah. Well, I can see that drives you. I see the passion in the way you're describing it. I mean, you're fired up about this. That's amazing. So when it comes to what you're doing now, so what were you prior to do you have a background in accounting? Like, what were you prior to having your own business and the entrepreneurial path? You had to have some sort of story where you didn't want to work for the man anymore. So what was it that you did prior to having your own business and your own entrepreneurial path?
I call myself a very strong left brainer. In fact, when my in my childhood days, my pillowcases used to be print in Excel spreadsheet patterns. No, I'm kidding. But I was very comfortable with numbers. Yes, calculus was like a no-brainer, and I didn't feel like I was very creative. But to answer your question, I received a computer science degree. That was my undergrad study in college. And I became a computer programmer for corporate America for about 4 years. And pretty quickly inside the 4 years of corporate America, I thought, this is not for me. I'm tired of spending that time and energy to help someone else's balance sheet, and not my own. And I was in my early 20s. I was as independent as I was ever going to be. If I'm going to break free and do my own thing and fly in my own wings, now is going to be the time. Although I would argue it can be a great time for anybody, regardless of what area of life that you're in. It's never easy. You know this, like anyone else, and your listeners too. Right. It's never easy, yet it's not supposed to be easy. Yeah. If it were easy, of course, everyone would do it.
Everybody would be doing it. Yep.
All the greatness, all the wonderful things that we as entrepreneurs are seeking out in our either professional or personal life or both is found on the other side of discomfort, on the other side of fear. And when we are able to just do it, as Nike would say, and take actions in the direction of what we want to pursue, it's going to feel odd. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It should. And that's a good sign that you're on the right track. And those were the signs, whether I recognized it or not, of what I was doing. This is way back in the mid to late 80s. But I'm very grateful that I did what I did, of course.
Yeah. Fantastic. So when it comes to the financial services that you provide, is it mainly small businesses or only providing for entrepreneurs? Like, what is your path? What is your the people that you you join or help, or who you help? Like, how is that found? Like, how do you find your clients and stuff?
I find myself, my clients are found primarily by word of mouth. When I do great work and provide a great service for people, that reverberates. And the people that I tend to work with are predominantly still in the accumulation phase of their life, 40s, 50s, 60 somethings. They do very well. Either they are business owners themselves or entrepreneurs, or perhaps they're working for another company. However, they're clocking a good income. They are savvy. They're smart. They're well-to-do. They are looking ahead. They feel good about what they're doing, and they're very good in their profession. Yet they don't want to put the pause button on their life and become a money expert anytime soon. They recognize how important this part of their life is. Of course, they're behind the wheel of their ship, as I like to describe it. But they don't want to stop sitting in the captain's chair so that they can go over to the first officer's department of the ship, right? They're the Captain Kirk, but they respect and they value having Mr. Spock on board. And that's the role that I sort of assume, is that one where I'm looking over the shoulder of their money life, their financial life, helping them make smart and wise decisions with their money to make sure that their money and their income is headed in the direction of where they want to go, so that their money is pointed in the direction of their future and not somebody else's.
Yeah, exactly. So is it mainly that you just it's just advising, or do you use the stock market? Do you use crypto? Yes. If someone is into crypto, do you have some crypto background where you can help mold their future with that, or?
Not specifically crypto. I have my own take on crypto. However, yes, stock market related, bond market related, funds that are used in the broad market to help build long-term wealth. Gotcha. There are other parts too, like say short-term savings. There's the discussion of estate planning issues. There's the discussion of insurance planning issues. My take is very much a holistic viewpoint. Yes, gotcha. I'm a stockbroker. Yes, I'm licensed in all the securities, and I'm able to transact those. And I do use that to help my clients build wealth and make those smart decisions. But I stay very plugged in with industry trends and tax regulations, and how can I minimize clients' taxes so that they can build their wealth stronger, keep their money for themselves, because it's more about not so much how much you make, but how much you keep, right? So that's very that's an area that should not be ignored at all.
Very interesting. I had a guest on my previous episode, because I did record it before yours. I haven't recorded, but I think she's my next one going live, and you'll be a few after that with everything that I've got lined up. But she is some form of, the way I understand it, is she found that loophole for trusts and how you save thousands and thousands of dollars depending on your area of or what you have your money wrapped in, whether it's property, whether it's your own home, whether it's a rental property. Like it was amazing. I'm like, and she said goes all the way back to the early 1900s when the Rockefellers set it up, and basically presidents and the CEOs use this technique. So I'm sure that there's some of that wrapped in it, because you mentioned the tax savings, and that was one big thing. So it'll be good to kind of hear her. You'll have to tune into her episode and hear what she has to say, and then comment on it. That's what we always like, the comments. So and when it comes to when people are like-minded and hear the episodes, it's always nice to hear how they can bounce off of each other. Maybe it's even someone that can be put into your fold. I don't know, Sally. She was really fun to talk to. So
that brings up a point. I'd like to mention is that solutions like that can work really well for some people, and they cannot work very well for other people. So in the world, in the realm, as you can appreciate this, and I'm sure that she would too, whoever your guest was, in the realm of personal finance, that word personal is very meaningful.
Yeah, exactly.
And you need to make sure that whatever advisor that you're working with is coming from the space of, show me where you're at and where you want to be, the point A and the point B. And let's see what is the right shoe size for your foot.
Right.
Okay.
So now I'm going to ask you a question about just you being an entrepreneur and moving through your path. And this doesn't have to be related to the financial market or whatever. But give me a couple of advising nuggets for our listeners that may be new to entrepreneurship, or they feel that their entrepreneurship is kind of spinning. Just what you've learned from being an entrepreneur, doing your own business. Do you have any advice like that for our listeners?
I would ask people to look at the area of personal growth and personal development.
Okay.
The stronger that you have a belief in yourself, the better entrepreneurial path you will lay down for yourself. Specifically, what I'm talking about is, many people ask me in my trade as a financial advisor, Rick, what's the best investment that we can make these days? That's always a common question. And my answer is almost always the same, and may come as a surprise. However, it's not XYZ stock or crypto or something of that nature. It's self-esteem.
Wow.
If I think of one area that people should spend time and money in, it is your belief in yourself, your self-estimate, how you feel about yourself, your self-esteem. Because when your self-esteem is high, you start to pick up life. You've got a pep in your step. You create momentum. All entrepreneurs, everyone experiences momentum, right, on a daily basis. And that momentum can be down, but it can also be up. And when you've got the fuel of a higher octane self-esteem behind you, you care more about your future. You begin to become more solution-oriented. You're able to see things that perhaps you didn't see with the grayer shade of glasses on versus the rosier shade of glasses on. And I'm not talking about blind optimism here. I'm talking about your belief in yourself. If you imagine there was such a thing, Kyle, as a self-esteem-o-meter, all right, that would.
I love it. I love making up words. Self-esteem-o-meter. I'm a podcastpreneur, is what I am. So,
like a thermometer, we can take our temperature, right? Suppose there was a similar thermometer that took your self-esteem temperature, and that gave you a reading between 0 and 100. Wouldn't you agree that someone who has a self-esteem reading of like an 85 has a greater, brighter future than one who's got a 34?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's all about self-belief.
So just imagine, and how does one get to, say, an 85 versus a 34? In my view, it's the actions that you take. It's the daily, boring, automatic pilot steps that we take as entrepreneurs, they're very tiny seeds of sand. They're grains of sand. And so many of them are hard to see because we're doing them subconsciously. But if we have these daily grains of sand that we employ in our daily, we're either creating a very boring mound or a beautiful sandcastle for that day. Now, mind you, there's some days that are not best, and I get it that we don't hit a bullseye every single day. However, with the add up of the positives and the negatives, all entrepreneurs, this has just helped me a lot as an entrepreneur, and I'm a big believer in this. If you pay attention to those actions that boost your self-esteem, you will find momentum. You will build momentum. You will build an energy. You will find ways to do things that you felt like were impossible. Now suddenly that they are possible. And when you do that day in and day out, you start to win the day. You win the week. You win the month. You win the year. And as you do this, as time goes on, you look back and you're able to connect these amazing dots that create a tremendous empire that you thought was impossible one day.
That's incredible. There's a little bit of business coaching in there that just got sprinkled in above and beyond your financial services. So that's amazing. Man. So when it comes to that thought process, it instantly makes me ask you the next question. So what system, what self-esteem program did you find or has been influencers for you? I myself have gone through John Maxwell a little bit, Tony Robbins, Nick Graziosi. What did you have a sprinkle of those people, or did you have one that you sunk your teeth into, and why?
A combination. Yeah. My first touch with personal growth was with Jim Rohn. He appeared at a live conference.
I love that guy's voice.
Years ago. He's amazing.
Easy to listen to.
I love John Maxwell. I love John DeMartini. I took some personal development classes with PSI seminars that were life-changing. The combination of all that is something that I've used as a base that I continue to pursue. It's a bucket that never runs dry. In fact, it needs to be filled up on a regular basis. If you're not doing that, then it will evaporate. It will evaporate. So just like your health, just like flexing that bicep muscle at the gym, this is something else that you need to go to the personal development gym and keep that strong. Because there's a next level 10 out there. Wherever you're at, you might feel like you're on top of the world, and that's great. Guess what? There's another top waiting for you.
Yeah. So I think you just said 10X up there. You said next level 10, and I'm in a mentorship group run by 10X coaches from Grant Cardone. That's another big one out there that's motivational. So I'm learning a lot from them inside of my group, and I came to that group for the technology to help build my podcasts, and I've got 2 podcasts now because I can build things so fast and so quickly. But I stayed for the community, and the community is a bunch of entrepreneurs sharing their knowledge, sharing their superpowers. And I'm just, every day I get off the phone with them, we have an hour meeting every day, and I do everything I can to get on that meeting because there's always a nugget. There's always a nugget. And as like you said, it's a perfect explanation where those grains of sands are those nuggets. That's that roots. We talk about the roots of our system and not the sand and sandcastle, but but it's the same concept. We're building the roots inside of our group that grows into the tree, that grows into the branches, that grows into the leaves, which is our clients. So it's a very similar thought process. But I just wanted to thank you real quick for coming on, nice and quick and sweet, to the point. Go ahead and let people know how they can get a hold of you, what services you provide. Of course, any information that Rick gives me will be clickable, that he mentions, that'll be clickable in the show notes and all that stuff. And don't hesitate to reach out for him and touch base with him with those links, and we'll go from there, and then we'll sign off. So what else do you have to? Anything else you want to share with them that they can, maybe a free ebook or anything like that you have available to talk about your services?
Feel free to go to my website that's shown there down below, salmeronfinancial.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Rick Salmeron, as well as Instagram and Facebook. If you're looking for someone who is independent and looking out for your best interests and not, say, their best interests, that if you're feeling that vibe with whoever that you're working with right now, I would suggest it's time to get a second opinion, because there are arguably as many financial advisors out there as there are Starbucks. Okay. and you want to make sure that the person that you're working with, and kudos to you, that's a sign that if you're working with someone, you recognize the value of having third-party and independent advice. However, it is vital for your health and your money's health that you've got someone who's seasoned, who has been around, who knows what they're talking about, and looking from an independent viewpoint to make sure that you're making as wise a decisions money with you as you can. Because when you're not making the right decisions, then the path steers off into a direction that you don't want to go in. And many times it helps to have someone from the outside in shining flashlights in the black box of your money, bringing your attention to areas that you're not able to see because those blind spots are so strong. So I encourage that second opinion if that works for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rick, for coming on and sharing your information with our listeners. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. We appreciate you and appreciate your dedication to our podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. If you heard anything in this that someone would have good information for, don't forget to share it with them. And leave us some questions. Leave us comments. If you're on YouTube, there's a comment section. I don't shut that down. I also have comments that you can reach out to Rick or myself and just send us an email. So other than that, Rick, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. It's been a couple of weeks since we first met, but it's all, everything good, lasts and comes to those who wait, right? So I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you back.
Yep. Take care, Rick. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Ignition Path, fueling the entrepreneurial fire.